Mayon just produced another volcanic ash advisory. The footage is striking, and that is exactly the problem. On May 10, 2026, the Tokyo Volcanic Ash Advisory Center issued Advisory 2026-591 for Mayon Volcano in the Philippines, reporting an eruption pulse that sent volcanic ash to flight level 90, drifting west-southwest. It was the latest in an unbroken stream of Tokyo 5AAC advisories issued throughout the past week. As of Tuesday, May 12, 2026, Mayon is on day 128 of a continuous eruption that began on January 6. Volcano Alert Level 3 is still in effect. The lava is still advancing in 3 gullies. The ash on the roads in Kamalig is still too thick to remove without manual labor. And 205 families are still sleeping on the floor of a gymnasium. Since January 6, the Mayon Volcano Observatory has recorded 8,926 volcanic earthquakes, 2,291 pyroclastic density current signals, and 36,738 rockfall signals. Almost 5,000 minor strombolian episodes have been logged. Sulfur dioxide emissions have averaged 2,562 tons per day, peaking at 7,633 tons on March 6. None of these numbers come from a single dramatic event. This is the volcano whose 1814 eruption buried Kagawa and killed roughly 1,200 people, leaving a bell tower in the dirt where the dead are still buried beneath a tourist park. And this is the volcano whose Lahars, after Typhoon Reming in 2006, killed roughly 1,266 people in Albay, making the volcanic mudflow, not the eruption, the deadliest phase of Mayon's recent history. Mayon did not stop. The headlines stopped. But here is the detail that tells the real story. The official story about Mayon ended around May 5 or May 6. The May 2 pyroclastic flow down the Miyazi Gully gave newsrooms a clip. The May 7 Fivolks bulletin gave them a closing number. Most viewers registered Mayon as an eruption that happened, was bad, and is over. That framing is convenient. It is also wrong. This is what Tokyo VAAC is still issuing today. Advisory 2026-591 on May 10 reported an eruption pulse at flight level 90. Advisory 2026-588 on May 9 reported the same. Advisory 2026-586, earlier that day, reported an eruption at flight level 100. The advisories going back to May 5 all read the same way. Each reports the eruption, each documents the flight level, each logs the plume direction, and each marks the next advisory as pending. The unbroken stream means Mayon is in a sustained, near-continuous ash emission phase. The International Aviation System has not removed Mayon from its watch list since January. The international news cycle stopped paying attention 4 days into the eruption. This is what is still happening on the ground in Albay today. 109 barangays affected by the May 2nd ashfall, across Kamalig, Guinobatan, Ligao City, and Oas, are still actively cleaning ash from roads, rooftops, gutters, and farmland. The cleanup is being done by hand. Volcanic ash is too fine to clear with motorized equipment without damaging it and pulverizing the ash into a more inhalable form. Cleanup teams are mostly residents and volunteers, supported by Provincial Health Office personnel and the 9th Infantry Spear Division. Kamalig Mayor Carlos Baldo continues to appeal for N95 masks, hygiene kits, and farm tools. Schools in Guinobatan and Kamalig are still closed. Fivolks Volcano Monitoring Chief Antonia Bornas continues to describe the latest 24 hours using the same phrase she has used for a week. There was no change in the overall monitoring parameters. Fivolks has issued a continuing warning to clear ash from rooftops before the next rains arrive. Dry ash is heavy. Wet ash is heavier. A typical Bicol residential roof is engineered for loads around 50 kilograms per square meter. Wet volcanic ash can exceed that load by 2 or 3 times. Roof collapses from ash accumulation are a standard secondary fatality mechanism in prolonged ash eruptions. Here is what has not made most headlines. A lahar is what happens when loose volcanic ash mixes with water. The result is a slurry of mud, rock, and debris that flows down a volcano's slopes at speeds exceeding 60 kilometers per hour, with the destructive force of flowing concrete. Lahars do not require an active eruption. They require ash on a slope and rain. On November 30th, 2006, Typhoon Reeming, known internationally as Durian, passed across the Bicol region. Mayon was not actively erupting, but its slopes still carried fresh, loose pyroclastic material from an earlier cycle. When Reeming dropped roughly 466 millimeters of rain on Mayon's flanks over 48 hours, that material mobilized. Lahars descended through Albay province. Most of the 1,266 people who died were buried in their homes by the volcanic mudflow before they could evacuate. Today, Mayon is not in a quiet phase. Mayon is in an active phase. Fresh deposits sit in the Mai Isai, Gully, and surrounding drainage systems. Every Strombolian episode since has added more material to the upper slopes. Geological has consistently flagged the Lahar risk. The recurring language reads, Lahar can be expected when heavy rain falls. The ash is on the slopes. The rain is on the way. The mountain has not changed. The conditions have not changed. The communities at risk have not relocated. To understand what is happening underneath, look at the magma supply. Mayon's lava is hypersthene andesite, thick, sticky, gas-rich. It does not flow so much as it builds, layer on layer. As fresh magma rises through the central conduit, it cools and stacks at the summit, then falls as rock falls and pyroclastic flows. Mayon sits on a subduction zone where the Philippine Sea Plate is being driven beneath the Sunda Plate. The steady supply from depth feeds the eruption faster than the volcano can release it in a single explosive event. So it releases slowly, episodically, and continuously for months. This pattern is not unusual for Mayon. The 2018, 2009, and 2023 eruptions each ran for several months. Each followed the same arc: initial event, sustained lava effusion, ongoing ash production, evacuation, lahar risk during the wet season, and eventual de-escalation. The de-escalation has not started yet, and it is still going. Five Oaks is still holding level 3. The Tokyo 5 AAC is still firing advisories. The 205 families are still on the gymnasium floor. The question is not whether Mayon is still erupting, it is. The question is not whether May 2nd was the main event, it was the visible event. The actual main event of an extended Mayon eruption is the part that comes when the lava stops advancing, the international media has moved on, and the rains arrive. That part has not happened yet. The question is what an event without a visible end date looks like for the communities still in evacuation, for the farmers still locked out of fields, for the aviation system still routing around ash, and for the families who live downslope of a volcano that historically kills more people with mud than with magma. Today, on day 128, the answer is what is sitting on the gymnasium floor in Kamalig. Tomorrow, the answer may be what comes down the gully when the first heavy rain hits the slope. The Kagzawa bell tower has stood in the dirt for 212 years. The lava is still advancing in 3 gullies. The ash is still on the roads. The Tokyo 5 AAC is still issuing advisories. And on day 128, the rockfall count is still climbing. The next eruption pulse has not been scheduled. If this story is worth telling, subscribe. We cover more of these every week.